doing stuff like this, but he just does all the rest. It's great. And I play with the Tampa Jazz Orchestra. We're going to play. Are y'all staying overnight? Or y'all going back?
We're going back. Yeah.
Going back. Everything is live streamed on the internet, and I have no idea how they do that. But if you go to YouTube and type in TC Jazz live stream, I believe it is, you can get everything that's done on the stage, so people can watch y'all's concert that you just played. And also, it's all archived, so you can go back and watch it and everything else too. All the clinics that are happening, so like at noon, Pete Chrisley is going to be giving a saxophone clinic or an improv clinic on the stage. You know, theoretically, you know, even if you go to the clinic and you forget stuff that he said, you can watch it again, like on your YouTube, on your phone, whatever. And next year they're going to be live streaming everything. Like even this clinic, you can will be live streamed. I don't think it's live streamed, but you can watch the film. So anything that I mess up on, you can go back and check out my thing. But also Norm Bergeron's drum clinic and Colin Mason's saxophone clinic and Dave Wild does a jazz history clinic, and I think Norm's doing a drum clinic like right now.
Yeah,
so but I think what I was asking him is that if y'all could go back and like check out his clinic on the archive, and I think you can. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. So that type of stuff. So that's technology is great. And towards that end, my big mantra for the weekend is listen and steal. Listen and steal. So now with YouTube, with Spotify and Pandora and all those things, there's no excuse not to be listening to jazz. And now Dan was talking about with the group before about active listening. I think there's two kinds of listening. I think a lot of it needs to be active listening, like, hey, what's Clifford Brown playing there? Or what's the drummer's hi-hat doing there? And it needs to be active, and it's real analytical listening. Some is for enjoyment. You know, I just love jazz. I mean, when I'll be driving home and I'll put my phone up to Spotify and plug in the aux cord, and one of my 4,600 tunes will come on. And it may be Charlie Parker, it may be Clifford Brown, it may be Dave Weichel drum things, it may be Tower of Howard or Earth, Wind & Fire, just for enjoyment. And then some things have to be real analytical and taking apart and stuff too. And just listening to jazz. So let's go around the room really quick and quickly. I don't want you to name me one jazz person, famous, hopefully, that plays your instrument. Go.
Duke Ellington.
Who?
Duke
Duke
of Ellington.
of Ellington? Okay, Duke Ellington.
Yeah.
Anybody else know? Now, he's the great big band, right? As far as big band composers, in my opinion, there was Duke Ellington, then there was a gap, there's a gap, then there's Thad Jones, and then there's a gap, and there's everybody else. And then everybody else is like Sammy Nestico and Rob McConnell and Bob Florence and Quincy Jones and many others. Duke Ellington is the greatest big band composer of all time. Anybody know what instrument Duke Ellington played? It was not trumpet. His son Mercer Ellington was a very bad trumpet player, but Duke did not play trumpet. Played piano. Yeah, two greatest big band leaders of all time, Duke Ellington and Count Basie, and they both played piano. And they were both like some of the last strike pianists. So yeah, so listen to Duke Ellington, but you won't hear him playing trumpet. You'll hear people like Cat Anderson and Clark Terry and Cootie Williams and people like that playing trumpet. Right. Don't name any of those guys, by the way. I gave them to you. Go ahead.
Miles Davis.
Miles Davis, yeah, great.
Wayne Bergeron.
Wayno, yeah, we've been fortunate enough to have him as a guest artist a couple of times. He's awesome. Yes.
Louis Armstrong.
And Louis Armstrong sounded like he sounded like he'd come from another planet where they had already been playing jazz for 50 years in the late 1920s when he did the Hot 7 recordings, West End blues, Day of blues, stuff like that. Where they'd already been playing jazz for 50 years, that's how far ahead he was everybody else. And it didn't take people long to catch up, but he really defined the style. Yeah.
I don't know. They took all mine.
They took all yours? That's fine. Same? Okay. And with every artistic endeavor, whether it's playing jazz trumpet or composition or wind ensemble conducting or comedians, there's a family tree of who was influential. They refined, the next person refined, extended what he did, et cetera, et cetera. For the jazz trumpet, the family tree is, in fact, do it fast, my brain is kind of all over the place. Louis Armstrong, Roy Eldridge, Dizzy Gillespie, Miles Davis, Fats Farrar, Clifford Brown, Lee Morgan, Freddie Hubbard, Woody Shaw, Wynton Marsalis. There's the trumpet family tree. All of your instruments have a family tree like that. That's not to say that those are the only important jazz trumpeters. Art Farmer, Chet Baker, Wayne Bergeron, and some newer guys like people like Dave Douglas, My two favorite younger players, younger, under 40, are guys like Jason Palmer and a guy from South Africa named Ambrose Akinmusere. And you can find all those guys on YouTube, and they're great players. But even those younger guys listen to Louis Armstrong, Roy Eldridge, et cetera, et cetera. So we all listen to those guys. I'm to the point now where I really don't listen much to jazz trumpet. I'm a trumpet player, but I don't listen much to trumpet players unless it's Woody Shaw. But I really don't listen to much jazz trumpet anymore. I listen more to saxophone players, piano players, singers a lot of times. Let's go through. Nobody else gets off the hook. So trombones. Let's go with you guys too. Go. Carl Fontana is. I got to book him for a jazz quintet gig one time. So I got to play with Carl Fontana. Awesome. Go. Bill Watchers. We were fortunate enough to record 2 CDs with Bill Watchers here. He's one of my favorite people on the planet. Yeah. Okay, go.
Trombone Shorty.
Trombone Shorty is amazing. I was fortunate enough to hear him when he was 5 years old, playing out the side of his mouth. Also a really good jazz trumpet player as well. And he was playing with high school kids, and he was by far the best player. He was 5 years old.
I was gonna say trombone.
Okay, yeah.
I'm out.
Okay, that's fine. Also, some other great. My favorite is Slide Hampton, played left-handed. J.J. Johnson, usually people mention him. University, and there's also other great trombone players. The University of North Texas, up where you guys are at, they called University of Texas football team. They kind of call them DBU. Like a lot of great defensive backs have come out of UT Austin. Well, a lot of great jazz trombone players have come out of North Texas, all the way back to Dee Barton back in the 1960s, went on to play Stan Kenton. But also guys like Steve Wiest and Conrad Hurley and Brett Zvacek and Scott Whitfield and Joe Jackson, who runs the Airman and Note, and Ron Wilkins, who I got to play with in the Air Force Band, Dave Bandman, who I played with in the Air Force Band. A lot of great jazz trombone players are rock throw from where you guys are at in Denton, so, and even continue nowadays too. So, and even like pre-bebop era, before J.J. Johnson, guys like J.C. Higginbotham and Kid Ory, who played with Louis Armstrong, things like that. Alto saxophone, altos. There's a lot of others I can't tell. Okay, so go.
Charlie Parker?
You could spend a lifetime just listening to Charlie Parker and going down that rabbit hole. That'd be awesome. He's probably the preeminent musical genius of the 20th century, Charlie Parker. Yep.
Johnny Hodges.
And a lot of people think there weren't alto saxophone players before bebop, but there were. Johnny Hodges with the Duke Ellington Band, and Benny Carter, and those are the only two I remember, but they were great. Yeah.
Phil Woods.
Phil Woods, yeah, and again, another rabbit hole you can go down, and he was really into Charlie Parker growing up. Yes.
They all took mine.
Who?
They all took mine.
They all took yours?
Yes.
Cannonball Adderley is usually the next person that people recognize. And then also I would go and say Paul Desmond and Lee Konitz. And some of the newer guys, people like Kenny Garrett is like the hot guy now, and Antonio Hart, I think is really great. What about tenor? Oh, go, I'm sorry.
Boots Randolph.
That's the first time I've heard Boots Randolph mentioned at a jazz festival, but he's more known for playing country. But I used to play gigs. I used to play with Boots Randolph every now in Salt Lake City. He was a very underrated player, very good player.
We just came back from Nashville and they took pictures with his album cover.
Sweet, yeah. And people don't think of him as a great player, but he was. And he was a very big sound, super nice guy. And I was honored to be able to play with him. Yeah.
Michael Brecker.
Yeah, and see, I was honored to be able to eat pizza with Michael Brecker on 6th Street at a club called Anchovies. That was incredible. With Michael Brecker and Mike Stearns. That was really cool. Most people would mention John Coltrane probably first. And we would get, and usually we'd get through Michael Brecker and through John Coltrane. A lot of the tenor players now have come from John Coltrane through guys like Michael Brecker, Bob Berg, Bob Mincer. Some of the guys going now, Branford Marsalis, Bob Mincer I mentioned, Joshua Redmond, and obviously Train was a hero of theirs too. And then also another guy going now to like a cult figure in Boston, his name's Mark Turner. Definitely check out, if you're looking for like real angular, the two guys in Boston, Mark Turner and Gary Thomas, and just like angular playing. At some point, our alto player, Seth Carper, is going to come in. He wants to demonstrate some sound things for the sax players. So I think he's judging right now, but at the end, I'm going to keep all the full time. So he wants to come in. He left this morning here somewhere, and he wants to play something. I think he wants to demonstrate sound things for you guys. Barry players are hard to find, but they're out there. And you may have to go to YouTube and just type in jazz baritone saxophone. If you type in, like for example, jazz trumpet, you'll get the guys that you should. You may get some scrubs like me that come in there as well, but that's okay. You can hear the difference between how good Louis Armstrong sounds and how pitiful accents, that's okay. Barry saxophone though is, they are out there, they're hard to find though, but the first name usually comes up is Jerry Mulligan, with a G, Jerry Mulligan. But also, now I'm going to bring that on Barry saxophones. Pepper Adams is probably my favorite, played with Thad Jones, Mel Lewis for many years. Gary Smullian is the current Barry player for the last 20 years for Thad Jones, Mel Lewis. I'm bringing it. Nick Brignola is another, he's like the Charlie Parker of the Barry saxophone, just ridiculous. And then Jason Marshall is a guy that's going now, it's like the hot, very young Barry saxophone player now. What about guitar?
Freddie Green.
Yeah, and quarter note Freddie for comp and quarter notes Freddie Green, yeah, it's that, and the sound and everything else too. Who else?
Wes Montgomery.
Yeah, and you could, again, that's another rabbit hole you could go down. I listen to Pat, I'm not a guitar player, I listen to Pat Metheny pretty much only exclusively. I guess I don't listen to drum players much anymore. I listened to Pat Metheny for like 6 months. I went to his radio station and just listened to Pat Metheny. And mainly for his songwriting, but I became a big fan of his playing and stuff too, and tried to put it on the trumpet. As far as comping, check out Jim Hall. Jim Hall really revolutionized comping for the guitar because he played a lot with Bill Evans. He took what piano players did and applied them to guitar. What about piano? You can start with the stride folks. Duke Ellington and Count Basie are like the last two stride piano players that were really relevant. But also Art, you can go down the Art Tatum rabbit hole. Probably the greatest jazz musician that America's ever produced, Art Tatum. And he was blind. They just did a documentary of him in Toledo, Ohio. Some of the bebop piano players, Al Haig, Bud Powell, as far as bebop piano players. And there's many other great, I know I'm skipping over people, Bill Evans, but the four that have been going for the last 50 years, and they're in their 70s, and they look 50, and they have more energy than anybody here, than me, or anybody else in the room, are Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, Keith Jarrett, and McCoy Tyner. And they're all still going now, and pretty much all the piano players that are playing now are very influenced by them, and they're still going strong and still playing great. So those are four guys you can look here too. What about drums?
Buddy Rich.
Yeah, and most people say Buddy Rich or G, and that's fine. With drums, you have to listen to big band drummers, Buddy Rich, and we're going to hear the beginning of, what was the first tune I played?
Mr. E.
Of the Mr. I want to hear the beginning of that, and I'm going to focus on you for a second. Buddy Rich, Louis Bellson, Ed Shaughnessy, as far as big band drummers. Mel Lewis is like one of the most, he's like the most minimal big band drummer. He only kicks the absolutely essential things. And with Kenny Werner tomorrow night, we're playing a lot of his charts, which he wrote when he was with the Thad Jones Mel Lewis band. And so our drummer Norm will be playing very much in the Mel Lewis kind of don't kick everything, only kick the essential things. And he plays a lot like Mel Lewis was playing. So, but also you'll listen to small group drummers. Mel Lewis was a great small group drummer as well. Buddy Rich was a very underrated small group drummer. But also people like Tony Williams and Elvin Jones and Philly Joe Jones, anything with Miles, and kind of a great drummer on it. And with great rhythm section playing for that matter. And the other Joe Jones, but then also some younger guys like Jeff Wise, like Brian Blade, like Chris Dave, people like that. I was going to say bass player, but you play. Yeah, it took me a tune to realize you had keyboard bass going. You were doing such a good job. So
Bass synth.
Yeah, bass synth. So really cool. So, and we talked about that too. Let's do. What's the swing? The first tune y'all played?
Yeah.
The very beginning. Okay. I was confused by that first page.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little.
Oh, okay. So it's like the practice.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go right at the top. I'm only going to hear about 16 bars of it. I want to hear the beginning. I'm going to focus on you. I don't want to tell you why. What? It's the Mr. E whatever.
Yeah.
Mr. whatever. Okay. Rick Stitzel's a great writer, really good trumpet player too. Here we go. About 1, 2, 1, 2, and. The bass sounds really carry, and so I was hearing at times the dreaded 4 on the floor bass drum that we never want. Now, and I'll preface that by saying Buddy Rich and Louis Bellson used the 4 on the floor. It's a real older school big band style playing, but they feathered the bass drum. It should be from where I'm at, even from as close as I am to you. It should be feathered and not hurt, and then used for kicks and fills. And things like that. So I wanted to make sure and run that to see if you were, and you're not, which is awesome. So you're-
Sparky, what I might do is, if you guys can make a spot for me, I'll just sit in with the sax section.
Oh, okay,
and
sweet, yeah.
Maybe that will do.
Yeah, they need to hear you, yeah.
You know,
Okay,
that-
excuse me, where's lead out?
Where's lead out the front?
Without me having to say
Okay, I'm gonna go
anything.
right there where that phone is. That way? I think that's what's right there.
We're taking the shot, we're taking.
Oh, okay, yeah. I just, when I saw the collective look of terror on their face, when I kicked it off about 20 beats faster than it should go. And I was like, oh, they play this song. Okay, all right, let's begin. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, and. Phenomenal, awesome. And one of our judges. Would it be fair to say the main thing you were trying to show was energy in the long notes?
Yeah.
Was that a big, that's a big thing,
My
right?
rule of thumb is if it's longer than a quarter note and sustained, I try to do something to shape the note.
Yeah, and a big thing that I said on the clinic thing when you hear will be shaping phrases, because you all get really good sounds, but the big thing now is shaping phrases. And I know you're trying to keep a lid on the dynamics because you've got a band and a half here. But I would have liked to hear a little bit more on the upper end at times within reason, you know, because a lot, especially the ballad, a lot of it sounded the same dynamic level. And you can do a lot more things. And the rhythm section is a part of that. You know, it's not just dynamic level here and you do what you do. You have to be a part of that too. And we talked about I talked on the thing about making sure you're not piano and guitar, that you're not playing in the same part of the instrument, that you're not necessarily playing all at the same time and playing the same stuff. And that takes some eye contact between the two of you. And if you're playing vibes, it means a little bit of eye contact, communication, maybe some planning out, so that one person's playing, doing the tenor solo, for example, maybe one person's playing the trumpet solo.
The other thing that I was going to say about that intensity stuff is, besides the, you can hear that I'm putting these forte pianos on all of the long notes. And it's not so much that I'm making the forte part of that loud, it's that I'm de-emphasizing the piano part of a forte piano. And it's the same thing, saxes, when you guys are playing these swing rhythms. You see, he's marked all of the things that he wants accented, but so much of that accent can come from de-emphasizing the non-accented notes.
Yeah, and one thing that happens too is that we're taught in wind ensemble playing or classical playing that every note has to have the same sound. In jazz band, every note doesn't have the same sound. We accent some notes, we ghost some notes, and so that gives it that more colloquial phrasing than everything having the exact same sound.
And another
I wish
difference.
y'all, real quick, saxes, I wish y'all could be out here to hear the difference in your section with Seth playing lead. because not only his sound, but you're playing up to him. You know, it's forcing you to, it's kind of kicking you in the butt a little bit and forcing you to play up to him.
I asked Sparky if I could come in and work with you guys a little bit here at the end, because what I heard, and it's rare to get a saxophone section that I can talk about these things with, because you guys have the sounds, you've got the intonation, you've got the notes and the rhythms, but I'm a saxophone player too. I started in concert band, and I know that you've got band directors, and no offense to band directors, but it's just the nature of our instrument going in concert band or wind ensemble. Saxes, I need less, I
Right.
need less, right?
Get in the hand.
Here, this is home for us, you know, we're kind of the redheaded stepchildren, sorry, redheaded stepchildren, of the concert band or the wind ensemble. But we're, this is where saxophone found its home. So this is where we can really, we get to make the rules. And one of those rules is that in concert band, you never stop a note with your tongue, right? You go, and
Ring,
it
ring.
stops like that. In jazz, you can stop notes with your tongue when you need to. So like all these do dot, you'll hear that at the end, do dot. I'm doing that with my tongue. And those rooftops, da, da, and then that intensity, as a lot of it is that back pressure that you have to have in your diaphragm. So can we, as the saxophone section, can we play just a little bit here at the top and just follow me? Again, this is an oral tradition. I learned to do this from
Yeah,
listening to
go ahead. Kick 'em off
recordings.
second.
1, a 2,
And the brass
uh-huh.
with the forte piano, the same thing.
Uh-huh.
Pianos. Because
More
when you
DM.
it's good for you. So let's do-
Good, now give me pickups to 17.
Sometimes I
Okay?
want to get to do
I'll
dot
give you 4
for
plus
do
1.
dot
1,
for
2, 3, 4,
dot.
1.
So you-
Can you do it one time?
Again,
2,
you
3,
do
4. You hear the notes that I'm not emphasizing are like, they're almost ghosted. I'm really backing off the volume. Play that with me. 2, 3, 4. So much better.
Yeah, and Barry saxophone can never be too loud.
You and I
You can
are like
always-
the lead and the berry are
Yeah.
the 2 pieces of bread and a nice big hoagie. All right?
And then in order for it to not be donut sound, then that's where we get second tenor, first tenor, and second alto trying to play up to.
It's the meat
lead alto.
and the lettuce
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah.
mustard and all that.
And what I just told the brass players is when they have forte pianos, a lot of times, it's because the saxes, while you have a long nose, the saxes are the string section of the group, they've got a moving line that needs to be heard. And we can make their life a little easier by not plowing on top of the music line. The last thing I'm gonna leave you with, where are we doing time-wise?
5 minutes.
Okay, one of the last things I want to leave you with is that even if you, improvisation needs, I don't know how much you focus on it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Not-
yeah,
not
so,
ever.
yeah, and so, improvisation's a big thing because it's, where do all these written lines in these charts come from? That was a question. Where do all these written lines in these charts come from?
The composer's hit.
Okay, well, when Rick Stitzel made them up, where did he get them from? Okay, what would have influenced his brain? I'm having to go a long way here for
Other players.
Yeah, it's backwards because it's not a written tradition. It's an oral, A-U-R-A-L, tradition. We get these written lines, I'm a big band writer, said this too. We get these written lines from improvised solos as a vocabulary. And that vocabulary informs all these written lines. So the better that you can improvise, the better you're gonna shape these phrases. One of my best friends was the lead trumpet player in the Army Jazz Ambassador. When I was with him in the Air Force Band, he couldn't improvise. A lick, a horrible. And so I was always after him. I said, Paul, you need to learn how to improvise. Even if you're not going to be the next Miles Davis, but at least help you be able to shape, you can be able to phrase and things like that. It'll make your written line sound better. But he didn't do it. So then he went and became the lead player with Maynard Ferguson. And Maynard Ferguson told him, hey, Paul, you need to learn how to improvise. He still didn't do it, even though Maynard Ferguson was like this big hero. He said, and Maynard can improvise, but he still didn't do it. Then he went on the road. He went on the road with Nicholas Payton and won a Grammy with one of the great trumpet players. And Nicholas Payton told him, hey, if you can't play enough blues by the end of the week, you're fired. I'm not making that up. And so he got to the practice room and turned on some aerosols and started working on some improv. And so by the end of the week, I mean, he wasn't Miles Davis, but he could or Louis Armstrong or whoever, but he could at least play a representative F blues solo, enough to where Nick didn't fire him. And so he went on for his life. And now when you hear him play up in the Dallas, he's from Oklahoma City, you hear Paul Stevens now, his line's so much better because he can improvise at least. Steph, anything else?
One thing real quick, can I get the saxes on Walnut Creek at, where is the melody? 13, maybe, 5?
Yeah, it kicks off at 5.
All right, so, same thing, I just want you to play with me as your lead alto player one time, and, where is it where it's just the saxes? Is that 5?
Five, yeah,
Okay,
five,
great. So, I say this on the comments, that the lead alto has to sing the melody, and then we're kind of like, almost like a harmonizer underneath that as a section, all right? So you're gonna follow what I do. If you hear me crescendoing, I want you to crescendo, and everybody will stay about 10% softer than me. You won't have a problem with that because I'm gonna
Brass,
play
I want you to listen.
really loud.
I want you to
all right?
listen to how they're doing this, and then we're
It
gonna go to
doesn't matter that
21.
this is a ballad. You
And you're gonna
just
shake,
fill
for
up
instance, the
whole-
same way, and do some more dynamics. At 5, 1, 2, ready?
If the line goes down, I start here and then it goes va vu va va, and you know, even though there's not accents on some of these notes, I'm playing accents on some of them because I've heard great alto players, lead alto players, saxophone sections doing that. Who else playing alto 1? Lay out for a minute. Ready?
So can we go,
Yep.
let's go to 21, because I want the brass to do the same thing, because y'all have some stuff in there too. 21, and shape these phrases exactly the same, and shake, 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 and overdo. 21, 1, 2, 20, 1. Really ends on minor major
It's
spot.
not written, but the
Yeah,
reason
it's
I'm
really
doing
not
that
awesome.
is because I've heard the
Yeah,
Stan
yeah.
Kenton
It's a
Orchestra
minor
in
major,
particular.
minor, yeah.
This is very
Great.
much in kind of the Stan Kenton
For the trombone is and the B
1940s
natural.
style, and
Bring
that's
it out,
how
be
I
scared.
play it, was with this
It's a
kind
minor
of
major
like
7 chord, don't be scared.
whoa,
It's weird that it doesn't resolve.
And it really pushes, see how it pushes the saxophone section
Gene
forward.
Thorne's a great writer.
That's-
He was the lead
uh,
alto player for the Army Jazz
Again,
Band.
that's why I'm doing it, is because that's how I heard it played in 45.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's off the. Yeah. We played a couple of Paul White.
Now,
Those are
the
great too.
Kenton Orchestra,
Yeah,
they would use
yeah.
any
Paul,
vibrato.
Paul Strom
All
also.
beat and dynamics.
Yeah,
they
he's,
would do
he
that.
played
We
Barry
used a little
with the
bit of
Ambassadors.
vibrato on it myself,
And then,
but, you hear how
they
it's
started having
really
kids, he wanted to get off the
trying
road.
sing
So he,
over the
when
section.
Gene retired,
That's what you guys-
he took over his arranger slot, so he didn't have to travel.
you
Yeah,
got
Paul's a
to
great
do
writer.
it.
He wrote a chart for us, for our, this is TGO,
But
when he was still living.
I know
Great tenor player,
guys that
when he was living in
play
Austin.
the alto, and they sound like this. In fact, this is the old version of that. This is a C double star Selmer mouthpiece from the 50s, and that's, I mean, that's what, and a size 2.5 reed, you know.
So you're playing a double star or a D star?
This is a C double star that I had opened up. It's probably about an E now. Still not very big. My regular, this is, I just got this back from my mountain maker. My regular one is an E that's been opened up to like a G or an H or so.
Yeah, I used to have the D star.
Yeah, and with a size 2.5 blue box on there, but it's, you know, I'm relaxed and I push it in the air.
And it may sound like, oh, God, he's really blowing here, but out front, I mean, it's that's the lead
I mean,
alto
you gotta
set.
think of where our
That's
bells are
what-
going.
Right,
Right
yeah.
there. There's, I mean, it's gonna block 60% of the sound, so we have to really blow to get it over that.
Cool. Lots of great stuff, great sounds. The main thing is shaping phrases, nuance, defining the nuance, listen and steal.
Thanks for letting me
Listen and
sit.
steal, yeah. Listen and steal, give it up for Seth. Yeah, and right now, like I said, I think I probably said, I don't listen much to jazz players anymore, but I've listened to, I'm 54 years old. I've listened to pretty much jazz trumpet since I was 12. So now I listen to other things. Right now, at your stage of the game, you need to be listening to your instrument.
Everybody's gotta have a hero on their instrument.
Not just for enjoyment, and back in our day it was Maynard Ferguson, but not just for enjoyment, but also for to analyze. Hey, what are they doing? How do I get that? Thank y'all very much. Enjoy.